Dr. Sylvia Peregrino, and I'm a government professor here at El Paso Community College, and I'm also the host of Entre Nosotras, Latina Voices. And today, my guests are Ms. Graciela Ortiz from Adult Protective Services and Mr. Daniel Anchondo, or Danny Anchondo. Welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting us.
We're going to talk a little bit about live organ donation. But before we do that, could you tell us a little bit about yourselves and what do you do?
I'm Grace Ortiz, and I'm the faith-based community engagement specialist for Adult Protective Services. But we're talking about a topic that's very near and dear to my heart, only because I have a loved one who is in need of a living donor. And so I am very passionate about this topic, and in hopes of helping him and being able to keep him here a little bit longer, I just want to be able to help him. And that's my husband. He needs a kidney transplant. And so we're looking for living donors. And I thought, what better way to be able to just get the word out and educate the community, because so many people don't understand what a living donor is.
And my name is Danny Anchondo. I'm an attorney here in El Paso. I've been an attorney for almost 50 years. And I'm also a recipient of a liver and a kidney. So I've got 2 organ donations, and I'm here to talk about what it is to need an organ donation, and also to ask for people to help, both as a living organ donors and to get on the list to be a organ donor if something should happen to you, and how to educate people in the community about the importance of organ donations.
Great, thank you for being here. And so I don't have a medical background or anything, so excuse my ignorance, but I, at least I guess from watching TV shows, I know the liver regenerates, and so theoretically someone could donate a part of their liver and still be okay with it, correct?
That is correct. They've done quite a bit of extensive work now. 20 years ago was a little different, but now there are a lot of individuals that can give part of their liver, and it regenerates. It'll come back to its normal, almost normal being. And the other individual who gets the other part of the liver, that starts to regenerate itself in the other individual.
I know, kidneys, that's not the case, but maybe a person can still live with just one kidney?
That is true. There's a lot of individuals, a lot of cancer individuals who are living with only one kidney because they had cancer in one, and they were able to remove the kidney that was infected, and they still are able to live. And there's a lot of individuals who have become donors, like we're talking about today, which is giving a kidney and still having one kidney that you can live with, and allowing somebody else to use the benefit of the other kidney.
And so, Mr. Anchondo, since you've been a recipient, could you talk a little bit about what's that like, what your experience was like as having an organ or having 2 organs?
Sure. In my situation, I had a liver transplant almost 21 years ago. And they told me that eventually that my kidneys would be affected because of that. And so about 3 years ago, no, actually 4 years ago, I started having kidney problems. And a lot of times the kidney will start failing, and it won't start, it'll retain liquid, and you'll retain too much water, and it'll affect your kidneys. And you need a kidney transplant. A lot of times you'll go on to dialysis, like Mr. Ortiz's in Grace's situation, and you'll use a machine to keep you going, and it purifies and cleans the kidney while you're waiting for a kidney transplant. So that could take a while, but that does give you the opportunity to continue a lifestyle and stay alive, which is the important part, until somebody either one gives you a kidney, or somebody donates a kidney and you're able to receive that one. But it is a situation that is very extensive. You'll be surprised, and a lot of people don't know how many people need kidneys, especially a lot. If you go to any of the DaVita locations where they are receiving dialysis, you'll see the number of individuals that are waiting uh, for kidneys, and they are on the dialysis machines either on a daily basis or 3 times a week, depending on what kind of dialysis they're on. But the amount of individuals, there's a big misconception about organ donations. And that's one of the reasons that we're talking about it, in order to educate individuals about the need that is out there right now, and the need of individuals who are quite healthy that may be willing to donate a organ themselves to help others.
And so I don't know if either Grace or Mr. Anchondo want to talk about some of those misconceptions.
Well, there's some people who think that just because they filled out I'm an organ donor on my driver's license, that's it. They've done their deed and that we're good. But that's not being a living donor at all. It just means that if you have an accident or when you pass away, you let your, and that's the other thing. I tell everybody, let your family know that you've done that, because a lot of people don't know that you want your organs donated to help somebody, whether, and they'll use all of you, your eyes, your heart, your lungs, whatever it is that someone's needing. But a living donor is somebody who says, you know what, I want to help somebody. And again, you can function with one kidney, and you're going to donate your kidney to someone and give them a chance to live a better life, only because it's really difficult. You know, dialysis is not easy. There are good days and there are bad days. There are days where they just don't feel good. And there's lots of stuff that's going on in the background. And so, yeah, they're taking the treatment, but we want them to have a better life. So that's why we're here today. We're needing living donors so they can donate their kidney. Now, I want you to know, I wanted to donate a kidney to my husband, and they right away said, stop. And I said, well, I wanted to do it. I'm there for him. And they said, no, we need you to be his caregiver after he has the surgery. So I'm out. I couldn't do it. And so that's why we're here today. So and then the other misconception is, I can't afford it. I can't afford it. How am I going to pay for that? I don't have insurance, or my insurance doesn't cover it. You have nothing to worry about. It's all going to be taken care of by the patient's insurance or finances. They have nothing to worry about. All it is you just got to be ready, willing, and have the heart to give one of your kidneys.
And so are there situations that maybe families could make an arrangement? Like, let's say your husband needs a kidney, but you're not a match, or one of your children is not a match, and then somebody else's family needs a kidney and you happen to be a match. Is that legal?
It is. Let me give you an example. Is if there's an individual that wanted to give a kidney to Grace's husband, they can go and say, "Hey, I want to give my kidney to Frank, and we want him to have my kidney." And they look and they say, "You know what? You're not a match, okay? But there's somebody else somewhere else that is a match for him, and the individual here is a match for the individual someplace else." What they can do is they can work it out so that Frank would get the organ or the kidney from the other individual, and the individual over there would get the kidney from the individual that was donating to Frank. And so that those arrangements can be made. That's why it takes sometimes a while when you want to be a donor, that you need to find somebody that matches. and they can exchange. And it doesn't have to be right away. In other words, if they found a kidney for Frank, and somebody that wanted to give a kidney to somebody else, and they had to wait till they found somebody that it was a match, that can be done. So there's all kinds of ways that you can help somebody that needs in this case, a kidney, because those things can be worked out. Now, there's a difference between a donor uh, and a kidney donor and a living donor. Again, the kidney donor is the one who is willing to give their kidney if something should happen to them, or give any of their organs away if something should happen to them. And then there's the living donor. The living donor is the individual who is and able to give a kidney. They have two good kidneys. They can live a normal life, full life with one kidney, and still allow somebody else to have the other kidney. And those items are taken care of. Like in this case with Mr. Ortiz, his insurance. If let's say the other individual didn't have insurance, or they didn't want to cover, his insurance would cover. They would pay everything for Mr. Ortiz, and they would pay everything for the other individual who wants to be the organ donor. And that is so important, because a lot of people don't know that. And they say, well, you know what, but then I'll be sick, and then what happens to me? You know what, we have, you can go online and look and see the number of donors that we have. They're growing in number, because people are understanding what is going on, and what the benefits are to giving organs.
And so it's easier to find a match when you belong to the same racial and ethnic group?
Not necessarily,
Not
not
necessarily.
necessarily. And now, when I first started with organ donation about 20 some odd years ago, you had to find a perfect match. Now it's not necessarily so. Now some of the other individuals with blood transfusions and a lot of other things, they can work it out so that they can still, if they're not a perfect match, they'll still be all right.
Ms. Ortiz, with your husband's situation, is he on a national organ transplant list? So he can, maybe try to find an organ donor through that route. But
So I'm going to tell you the need is so great. He's on several lists. He's on a list in San Antonio. He's a list in Arizona. He's a list on the national list. And he's also on a list here in El Paso and one in Nebraska. We really want to get a new kidney. And so he's on all those lists. But I'm going to tell you the need is so great. I'm just blown away when I'm told that the waiting list is forever long, 5 years long. And I'm like, that's a long time. That really is a long time. And again, if just being able to talk about it and share our story and get people to understand that being a living donor is saving a life, then by all means, and you have a heart for it, then, reach out to us and let's do it. We want to be able to give them a better life and be able to if we're to be normal. It's not really normal right now. And again, it's sharing and talking about it and getting the word out.
And so these organ transplant procedures for living donors, is that something we do locally, or would somebody have to fly out to a specialized hospital in Houston or a bigger city?
I know there's one here in Las Palmas where they do this transplants, and Miss Danny, you know about all the others.
Yes, we do transplants here locally, and we've been doing a lot more. In fact, the hospital here at Del Sol that is working on this within the last 5 years has just grown tremendously. There's getting more doctors to come in who perform these kind of surgeries, so it is growing here in El Paso. There are a lot in Texas. They use Baylor University Medical Center in Dallas, and they do tremendous number of transplants, both heart, liver, kidneys. They're doing a lot of lungs now, uh, eye transplants with corneas. So anybody who wants to be a donor and get on a donor list if something should happen to them, they take all kinds of organs. You'd be surprised
Me
the
too.
number of organs. There was an individual here that died about 4 or 5 years ago, a young gentleman, and we thank his family for donating all his organs. They used about 32 organs in his body that were able to help individuals. So that's the type of help that can do it. But there are medical centers all around us uh, that do provide this service.
I know personally, when my mom passed, I got a phone call, and I was asked to have her donate her corneas, and I, I accepted because I thought that way, uh, she would be helping someone to see, and she wasn't going to use them anymore, and so. I was happy that we could do that, but in that case, she wasn't a living donor, but I know that was going to help a family out. So I never really heard anything from whoever was the recipient, and I didn't really inquire. But I'm glad to know that maybe someone was helped with that donation. Um, I know personally I'm an organ donor in my driver's license, but I've had students who tell me, "Oh, I don't check that off because then they're not going to try to save me." Could you talk about how that's a misconception?
Oh, that's a very big misconception. And 20 years ago, when I got that was the one thing that everybody was talking about. He said, "No, if I give my organs and everything, and if I get in an accident, they're going to take my organs and not try to save me," and that is not true at all. Uh, in fact, they do not harvest organs until they're sure that the individual is either going to pass away or has already passed away. But just like you were talking about, that they contacted you with that, uh, University Medical Center here does a very good job about trying to harvest organs and get individuals to give them. And they do go over the family with them regarding uh, don't be afraid because you have these misconceptions that they're going to let you die so that they can use the organs. That is not true. The other question that we used to always come up with was, it's against my religion. The Catholic Church doesn't let it, and that is not true at all. Uh, they encourage organ donation. They encourage saving people's lives. So those misconceptions are just that, misconceptions. They're not true. They do everything to try to save an individual before they start trying to harvest an organ.
And I also hear one other thing, and it's just funny the way people think. They say, if I check that off, then more than likely I'm going to die really soon. Or same thing with a living will or last will and testament. I'm not going to go get it done because, oh my gosh, I'm just putting that on me that I'm going to pass away soon. And it has nothing to do with that. We just don't know when we're going to pass away. None of us do. And so you doing that is not going to make you pass away sooner. I've had people tell me that, and I'm just like, what? Where did you get that idea from? In Espanol, dicho y hecho, I'm going to do it, it's going to happen. No, it's not. It's not going to happen.
Yes, and I think we death and taxes, right? The only guarantees in life, and so um, I'm glad that you're encouraging people watching our show to have those conversations with their loved ones, so that if something happens, if an unexpected death, or if they find it in their heart to become a living donor for a relative or for a friend or loved one, that they know that the good that they will be doing. I'm glad you're here giving us this testimonial and information.
In fact, the individuals that I got a liver from, I never heard from that family, but I'm very thankful to them. But the kidney family, they did. They wrote me and said, you know what, we're very thankful. We want to know that, my dad's uh, kidneys or the different organ. They didn't know what organ I got, but are doing well, and so that's very heartfelt to know that these people are knowing that somebody is walking around alive, uh, benefiting from the loss of their father.
Yes, no, that's wonderful. I mean, I'm glad that the family contacted you, and maybe that's something that can give the family some peace, knowing that even though their loved one is gone, that a part of them is still around in this world. At least it did for me, knowing that somewhere my mom's corneas were helping somebody see. And so, I'm glad that we're giving people information on both organ donation and live, if they're willing to do it. And so I don't know if there's anything that you want to add that maybe we haven't talked about.
I just want to share something that, Danny mentioned he got a letter on someone, letting him know about their dad. But being a living donor is you being an angel here on earth. And I'm hoping that whoever, if anybody would ever stepped up and help my husband with a kidney, they will be our living angel here on earth. And hopefully we can develop that special bond, knowing that you gave him the opportunity to live a better life. And if you're interested in doing that, please feel free to call me at 915-820-5566. I will guide you on what you need to do. And hopefully you would be a match. And if not, believe it or not, you'll be a match for someone else and be an angel here on earth for someone else. And that means a lot to us, our family, only because we know what other families are going through and the struggles and the ups and the downs of this whole journey. And so if we can make a difference, that means a lot to us.
Let me just add to that. It's so important that people sit around. We sit around Sundays and talk to the family, or we sit around at parties and stuff, and talking about organ donation and what you need to do to get on the organ donation list are just as important as anything else, because you don't know when you're going to be helping somebody in your own family that may need an organ, and it's so important. You're not just trying to help the rest of the community, but you're also helping your family as well, and it's very important. So it's very important that you talk about it so that people know, because a lot of people don't know that you're going to be donating your organs, or they may not find your wallet with your driver's license on it. But people that know that you wanted to give the organs, if you were ever in an accident, you would be able to tell the hospital, and they would know. If you wanted to also donate the organs, and you can call Southwest Transplant Alliance here in El Paso, and they are the organ procurers for the Southwest area.
I have a website where you can go to if you want to be a living donor through the Las Palmas transplant unit. It's www.laspalmasdelsolhealthcare.com, all one word. And you can go in there and say that. And again, that's why I provided my number, so I can guide you. And again, ask yourself the questions. Do I want to make a difference in someone's life? Do I want to give back and save a life? Do I want to be a living angel here on earth? Then if you say yes to those questions, then you're headed in the right direction. And honestly, you're helping someone for a second chance to live a better life and to possibly save their lives. And that means a lot to look at Mr. Anchondo. 2 donations, and he is out there. He's very, very active. And, we're very grateful that he's still here with us, all because someone was willing to give that donation. So we need to have those courageous conversations with our family and do our best to do something right in this community. All we see in the news is all the bad stuff, but we need to be a little more kinder to one another and be able to make a difference in the life of another person.
Thank you Mr. Anchondo and Ms. Ortiz for being here and for educating us on this important topic. And I do hope that some of the audience out there will decide to become a living donor, or even just make the move to put that on their driver's license, or have the conversation, like you said, Mr. Anchondo, because we never know when somebody in our family or somebody we care about might need an organ donation. And so glad to know that that goes on here in El Paso, and that insurance will cover that those procedures. So thank you for this valuable information.
No, thank you for allowing us, and I hope we have more programs like this, and I hope that somebody's looking at you right now with your mom's eyes.
There you go.
Yes, and it gave me comfort to know that maybe her eyes would be somewhere, and that one day maybe I'd run into that person and I'd recognize her eyes, and I figure, if it could help somebody, why not?
Thank you again for having us. We really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.